Hello, everybody. So glad you're here. If you're new, my name's Sam, and I'm going to be chatting with my new friend Brian here today. We are going to be talking about how client retention, team retention, everything business retention can make your business better. I personally believe that when you keep your best clients and team longer, your business is better, stronger, and just the way to go. And if you are a small business owner, entrepreneur, founder, you are in the right spot. So I got connected to Brian via talks.co, and I haven't used that platform very much, but I really enjoyed it. And so I got connected to you there and looked at your website and started looking at some of the things you do about building on for teams and getting the right people in the right seats and that kind of thing. So just introduce yourself to everybody that's watching. Say who you are, where you're at in the world, how you help in the world, and anything you want to talk about your business, and we'll just kind of go from there.
Sure. Yeah. Well, thank you for having me, Sam. I appreciate being here. So Brian Hunt is my name. My company is Core BPO. I'm currently in the Andes Mountains in Chile, and I'm skiing. So I'm on a trip with some friends, and excited to be here, kind of enjoying the winter in the middle of the summer. And a little bit about my company. We are I call us more of an international staffing company. We have staff in Asia, Eastern Europe, Central and South America. We've got clients in both Europe and North America. And really, we help clients kind of find great people in whatever either region they're looking to find people in, or just in terms of a kind of a global outreach. Most of our clients work fully remote, and they're happy to bring on people regardless of kind of where they live. And of course, there's always all kinds of factors to consider when bringing on people from different countries, and so we help clients navigate some of the international landscape.
Yeah, that's very interesting. So my main company that I have is actually a virtual admin company. I created it in 2019. And so almost all of my people have always been stateside, but I do have a couple of people that I've partnered with another agency in the Philippines that's like me, where she vets
Mm.
the people and she interviews them and then I interview them and all that thing. And then they work for me, but they report to her too. And so they're always in the middle of the process to where I don't feel like I just have somebody floating out there in the Philippines like that I never know if they're okay or not. Do y'all stay involved at that level, or when somebody onboards them, do you guys step back?
Very much so. It can depend on the client. A lot of clients are really, I'd say, well equipped to manage resources globally, and really opt not to have very much input from us. So that would be kind of some of our larger clients, some of our larger software development teams. They have a handle on how they want to do things, and so we sometimes have limited involvement. But most of our clients really rely on us to do two things. One is really define what success looks like for whatever role they'd be hiring for. When you bring someone onto a team, you have to be clear about what it means for them to be successful and what you expect from them. So, we go beyond just the job description. I always kind of laugh at job descriptions. I think some of them are pretty ill equipped to really define what it is you want somebody to be doing for you. And so a lot of times we dig in and really understand exactly, the inputs, and I say inputs and outputs a lot. So, like, what is this person going to get from you, and what do you expect back from them? Right. Every employee starts with some form of input, whether it be, kind of an overview of what they're supposed to do and what the company is doing. And then eventually there's some expected output. Most of the things we do centers around measuring things. So regardless
Smart.
of kind of the type of roles that we do, we really, really try to quantify exactly what success looks like on a weekly, daily basis. And then we usually meet with our clients, especially at the onset, at least weekly, if not
Mm.
more regularly, to make sure that things are going smoothly, and that everyone's meeting everyone's expectations.
Yeah, that's really good. Very, yeah. We do similar when we onboard a new client, we meet with them. I tell them the number one indicator, and all the people work for me. Like we're not doing the same thing, but I have to bring on people to work for me. Um, but I tell my clients that the number one indicator of if they're going to work out with us or not is if I can get them to slow down long enough for a call once a week, even if it's just 15 minutes, just to touch
Mm.
base, make sure everything is okay. Then after that, we can go to a longer, further out cadence of monthly or quarterly. But without, like, we are very much a human to human thing. We're not a set it to and forget it. We have to have that interaction. But, and for you, probably you're able to tweak the process to make it better, to make sure that the person you got them to hire is getting what they need and the business is too. So it's still a win-win because otherwise it's not going to work out for anybody.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, a lot of times our clients have either tried something like this and haven't succeeded, or they've been hesitant to do it. And so, you know, we try to really, you know, hold their hand a bit and walk them through exactly kind of how this should go. I like to tell my clients that for the first month or so, you kind of work for us, meaning we're really got to understand exactly, you know, what's in your mind, what, you know, what success looks like for us really depends in large part based on, you know, their expectations, their knowledge. Um, there's so much knowledge that a company has. I mean, to your point about retention, you know, people underestimate the amount of knowledge that they have and their team has about how things work, systems, clients, other employees, you know, just how things work. It takes some time to really, you know, kind of understand that and truly get onboarded. So, and
Yeah.
once that's up and running, you know, retention is everything. Um,
Yeah.
one of the unique things we do with our clients, and we actually do some virtual assistants, but we don't do very many of them. We mostly do recruiters, software developers, marketers, and accountants. So,
Okay.
and a lot of that really relies on heavily on other people's, you know, input and other people's guidance and things like that. So, it's a really important aspect to get it right up front so that everything runs smoothly.
Yeah, it's really, really important. Yeah, and that was going to be my next question. Which niches did you tend to find y'all play the best in? So you already answered that. So I'm curious though, when I just lost my train of thought. And that's what happens when you're doing this live. It's just the way it goes. So you mentioned all those things. Oh, how do you, when you're bringing somebody on, and you do you have a specific onboarding process that you go through, or is it kind of customized to each one?
It's customized to each one, and it's probably customized a little bit by vertical. For example, you know, backing up a little bit, my background has been in kind of large consulting projects since I graduated from college 100 years ago and started with Deloitte Consulting. We were doing big enterprise software, you know, projects and things like that. So during that chapter of my career, I worked with offshore teams all over the world. I worked with teams in Costa Rica and Belize, Dominican Republic, Venezuela, Argentina, all over Asia, Philippines, India, China. So I'm really kind of gotten very accustomed to doing all kinds of work offshore, and all of those projects have had some form of marketing or creative component. So, ran a digital agency for a number of years in the early mid to 2000 to about 2010. Um, and I did a lot of software development offshore. So, and then for the last 15 years, I've been in staffing and recruiting. So I'm pretty well versed in recruiting and done recruiting for a lot of our clients globally. So there's kind of a lot of circumstantial reasons why I've kind of centered on these four disciplines, which are pretty wide ranged. Um, but they're all different in the how that you and how you onboard them. So, for example, my recruiting clients, my talent acquisition clients, or my recruiting agencies, they expect a certain amount of production, number of connections, number of outreach, number of what we call candidate submittals. Um, so that's kind of a very formulaic approach. We define what success looks like, and it's very specific to how they run their organization. I have another, set of clients that are more of the accounting and administration functions. A lot of it has to do with like, creating invoices and collecting invoices and following up on payments and making sure that everything runs smoothly. As the company grows and you increase your customer base by 100%, you all of a sudden have that many more invoices, that many more collection issues. So yeah, that becomes more of a conversation around what is the true output going to be for this accounting function? Is it going to be closing books and all of the things that go into just basic bookkeeping functions? The marketing team is really task based. So all the marketing functions are: how many posts did you make? How many interactions did you have? How many content pieces did you create and get posted? A lot of the work we're doing now also incorporates a lot of AI and using AI to kind of make things a little bit smoother for my team. And so that's been really beneficial. And then the software developers are really about, kind of integrating with their peers, making sure that they have access to all the tools that they need, and making sure that they're producing, a reasonable amount of, technology product on a weekly basis. So a lot of that has to do with kind of the nature of the software that they're building, or the technology that they're doing. And then, we really set expectations to the client as to what's to be expected.
Yeah, that's really good. And so it sounds to me somebody's looking to hire somebody like you, depending on what it is, they're actually going to get what they need and not just a box that somebody else is trying to fit them in. So that I was really pleased with your answer. Well done. I'm sure you already know
Yeah.
that. Yeah,
Yeah.
I have
Thank you. Yeah.
two questions based on what you said though. I'm curious, do you guys do any type of assessments for your people that you're onboarding for them, like personality or performance, and if so, which ones do you use?
We've done various forms of technology assessments, language assessments. We've done some, uh, you know, um, really skill-based assessments.
Hmm.
A lot of it has to do with the nature of the client, the nature of the business. Um, but we found assessments to be, um, I guess, almost as unreliable as not using assessments. And I say that because what I've learned in doing what I do is that it a lot of it's culture. So if you have the right person working with the right organization, um, speed, cadence, temperament, um, you know, dialogue, kind of preferences. Um, a lot of the hiccups that we come across all center around very, very soft skills, that
Yes.
I'm not
Yeah, I
sure.
feel that. I
Yeah,
totally feel that.
yeah.
Yeah, I
And
do.
so, and even some of the soft skill assessments like Myers-Briggs and some of the other kind of DISC and some of the other kind of personality assessment ones, they don't really speak to kind of the the communication styles or the communication preferences. Whenever, I mean, there's there used to be kind of a water cooler effect at an office building, right? People would gather around the office, water cooler, or they'd have like a break room, or there'd be happy hours, or there'd be like team building events. And as a planet, I think we've gotten away from some of that. But At the
Hmm.
same time, you have to really enjoy working with the people that you're working with, right? And I have some amazing people. I have some absolutely great people. And I have placed some people that I know are great at what they do with clients that are looking to bring on somebody. And I've gone in with the utmost confidence that this person who's done great work for me in the past is going to be amazing for this new client. And for some
Yeah.
reason it doesn't work.
Yeah,
And
because there's a connection that just happens or it doesn't, and you can't force it.
no, you can't.
Yeah.
And sometimes a rocky start is good. You know what I mean? In fact, I'm in
Mm-hmm.
the midst of one right now. And I'm in the midst of one where it's like the client just wrote a big long letter of, email of the things that she didn't like. And I've worked with the person that she's working with. I've worked with him for 10 years. So it was a quick, some of my people I'm closer with, some of them not as much. It was a
Sure.
quick call. I just called them up and I said, "Hey, what's going on?" And and he was kind of defensive at first, and I felt like it was just kind of a cultural slash communication mismatch. And it's one of those things that's to be continued because I don't have the end of
Right.
this story.
Sure.
But
Yeah.
he's seen things in a different light. He's communicating in a different way. She's now getting comfortable with him. And so some of those rocky starts I've seen turn into like the best long-term relationships.
100%. Yeah, I have
And so
stories. Yeah.
I'm hopeful that's the case, but you never know. Sometimes it just doesn't
I
work
had
out.
I had a client that I onboarded for us where we were helping her with social media and some light admin and billing type things for her business. And we have this onboarding process that goes over 100 days that we break, like it's just the whole part, it's just what we do and it works. And we got to about day 50 and I thought, oh no, this is not going well. It's not going to work. And I actually got on a call with her and I said, can we just please have a reset? There's been some
Yeah.
things that haven't gone well on our side. There's been some miscommunications on, like you send us something, the way you wrote it, we didn't understand it. We really want to help you. And that was in 2021 and she's still with us because I was able to say, hey, dude, we did not handle this right. This is not okay. And that's part of what I teach with Retention Made Simple is you do appropriate onboarding, show appreciation, and you deal with the feedback and you adjust. You don't just pretend like everything's good when it's not. And if you don't want to ask for feedback, that means you know it sucks. So let's just not
Hmm.
do that, right? And so in that kind of
Yeah.
situation with this client, the fact that you're probably meeting her or them, I don't know, I think you said a woman, but I'm not sure,
Yeah. Hmm.
that where they're at and figuring it out, that if you're able to figure it out and make it work, in my opinion, that's going to build more loyalty with her than if things had started and went well all the way through. Because they're going to see that you listen, you try and figure it out, you're on their team to help make it better. And I agree that sometimes the rockiest starts lead to the best business relationships for sure.
Yeah, for sure. It's funny. One of the rockiest starts I had was with a client of mine in the Netherlands. And if you know anything about the Dutch, they're very direct, right? They're they're great people, and they're amazingly happy and cheerful. And I love going over there to visit my clients, but this did not start well at all. And when there's a lot of and most of my team in this particular case, my team was India. About half my team is in India, half of them are scattered around different other countries. And so um, my team in India wasn't handling the directness that well, right? And so
Mm,
it took some, to your point, it took some appreciation, right? And it took some kind of understanding that, hey, this isn't going to happen overnight. But kudos to my my client, they really stood by and stuck with the people, and
Hmm.
now it's been going on 4 or 5 years, and
Yeah.
they've grown their team from the start of, we had like 5 people to start, and now we'll be close to 15 here soon.
Wow, that's great. That's great. All right. The
Yeah.
second question I had was you mentioned AI and you're using
Mhm.
AI in different parts of your business. I'm curious, are you team XYZ AI or what do y'all use? Like which one are you using or do you use all of them?
We use all of them. Yeah, I mean, our software development team is using a lot of kind of automated code generation, Cloud Code. They're using a lot of kind of, technology specific type of, AI platforms. Um, some of them, our marketing team is also using a lot of Claude for, kind of content creation and, content calendaring and publishing to, the websites. And so that's been really helpful and successful. Our recruiting team is using various forms of AI, everything from, just ChatGPT, kind of the search-based ones, maybe
Hmm.
even just to kind of create personalized content. Some of our guys are using Copilot in
Okay. Yeah.
their email platform just to make their kind of lives easier and whatnot. Some of our clients, especially in our marketing space, have created kind of personalized, LLMs, kind of personalized language and personality kind of platforms, and that's really helped to again create content that doesn't sound AI based. It sounds
Generic. Yeah.
Yeah, it sounds pretty personalized. So yeah, we're using all kinds of different things. Even our accounting team is using some basic kind of functions to do some data analysis and things like that. So
Yeah.
it's funny. A lot of my peers, and because I go to a lot of labor conferences all over the world, and there's been some very much doomsday predictions about the
Oh,
reduction,
yeah.
workforce and things like that. And it's funny, I think it's coming back around. Um, my my business is primarily recruiting, which is, we help people find people. And I'd say for the last really 4 years, recruiting in general has been pretty soft globally. I could point to all kinds of different reasons why that is. There's been all kinds of different geopolitical and financial system
Right.
reasons for that for the
Sure.
last 4 years. But really, in the last few months, I'm cautiously optimistic because I've had a few of these predictions. But in the last few months, I think people are getting back to people. I think they understand, oh, AI can do this, but it's still going to be a while before you can rely on it to do everything without human
Everything. Yeah.
intervention. So it's
Yeah.
like a lot of these things can help people do things,
I
better,
agree.
faster, more efficient. But at the end of the day,
Yeah.
it's funny. I was listening to the Elon Musk interview the other day,
Uh,
and he was talking about how really the economy is centered around, work. Work needs to get done, and it's labor that still drives the global economy. And
mhm.
he was talking about how you could have $1 trillion in a Swiss bank account, but unless it moves, unless you're actually doing something, like it's just,
Yeah.
what
And
is
then
it?
what? Yeah, I haven't heard, I
Exactly.
haven't watched that yet. I do watch several different things for business growth and AI, and I actually learned a lot from Dan Martell. I don't know if you follow
Yeah.
him. He was the
Yep.
guy that wrote back Buy Back Your Time, and he's
Yep.
got some really great trainings on AI and how to use it like for like an everyday person, but also within your business and systematizing things in such a way. I've actually learned quite a bit from him. And what I
Good
believe
stuff.
is that if we can use AI in a way, like you said, to make things better, faster, more efficient, but we don't remove the human from the situation because um, we're always going to need each other, whether or not, I mean, we just are better together. That's not just like a little thing you put on a bumper sticker on your car, on your Tesla. It's like, I don't know that I've ever seen a bumper sticker on a Tesla now that I mentioned that. But yeah, we're just going to be stronger together. We're still going to need
Mm,
each other. And when I think about
absolutely.
team retention and keeping your best team, so when your goal then get somebody to on board with the client, obviously they want them to stay for a really long time. Do you have any tips or tricks or thoughts? Do you share with them, or does each culture just have its own sphere? Do you ever give them any kind of feedback on what to do to actually keep the people or anything around that?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we could probably spend too much time talking about this, but one of the things that you know, a lot of people assume, oh, you have a team offshore, so you're an outsourcing, you're kind of whatever. And there's this concept that like, you know, there's somehow, exploitive in nature and really I view things from the standpoint of the macro trends of the world. A lot of people, specifically in India, there's 1 million people coming into the workforce every month in India. You can't hire enough people in India. So there's there's growing amounts of jobs, obviously, and so people are being hired over there, but um, you know, there's an inherent nature that they're very, very appreciative when they're given an opportunity, and and what I tell my people, my clients, is, there's also an expectation that when they do really good work for you, that you're going to compensate them to keep them around. So I always kind of work with my
Yes.
clients to let them know, hey, a 20% raise after the first year may not be out of the realm of possibility if they're doing really, really
Yeah.
great work for you. And actually, I've built into my contracts a mandatory raise for my staff after a year. And I said it very simply, like, if you're happy with them after a year, then this only makes sense that you would want to keep them and retain them because there is an inherent competitive nature even with 1 million
Sure.
people coming into the workforce. You have to compensate your people well. So I think I've always done a good job of compensating you know our people, I would say, above average, in terms
Yeah.
of kind of market standpoint and whatnot. We also do tons of different retention programs. I've taken my team to on various incentive trips. So taking them to like Goa and taking them to Dubai and to the Maldives. And
That's cool.
so those
If
have
my
really helped
team's
keep them.
watching this, don't get any ideas. I offered to take
Yeah.
them we were going to do a party at the Embassy Suites in Round Rock, Texas. But
Yeah.
it's something that, yeah.
The model has to work, and so
Yeah.
the model would work with that. We gave them a
Yeah.
financial target for the year, and anybody who reached the
Yeah.
financial target
Okay. Yeah, that
made it
makes
on the
sense.
trip. So it was very
Yeah.
much a
And
financial
that's,
target and incentive. So, but yeah, and then it's funny. I talked to some clients that are new to this game, and some of them have had staff offshore. And one of the things
yeah.
I'll say is like, you know, how often do you talk to them? And I'm shocked.
Uh,
Like, I've talked to business owners who have staff offshore and they can't remember their name. And I'm like, you don't remember their name, right?
no.
And
Yeah.
you know, I feel bad because I haven't been over to see my team in close to a year now because there's
Yeah.
less of a reason to travel now with everything
Yeah.
post COVID world.
Well,
Um, but
one of the
I
guys
it,
that worked for me from the woman that I have the similar partnership over, I don't even remember. I was the Philippines, and he worked for me for 3 years. His name was Joe Mari, and he was the best. Oh my gosh! And I do client and team retention things, so I actually send my team different things throughout the year. And my business name, my admin company is called Your Admin Ninja. And I
Mm.
made shirts that said it's okay, I'm a ninja with a ninja on it. And I mailed one to Joe Mari in the Philippines. And you would have thought I gave him $1 million because I included him in that process. He ended up getting a full-time job somewhere else because I didn't have full-time hours for him. But I tell Stephanie, the woman that's my contact there, she still knows Joe Mari and sees him periodically. And I said, tell Joe Mari hi. If he ever wants to come back, I'll figure out how to get him full-time work because he was so good. And I taught, yeah, when you show even the tiniest bit of gratitude and concern and like they're a human, they're not just somebody over there just doing the thing. um it just changes the whole dynamic, right? And we got
Yeah.
to remember we're people, we're humans. Like we're not just robots
Mhm.
here working, we're actually humans. We're working because we need to, and it pays our bills and we create something bigger than us. And those are all good things. But if we forget the person sitting right across from us or on our team, I don't want it.
I don't understand the the people who run businesses that don't take care of their people for many reasons. One, I don't understand why they don't. Right? To me, it's
Yes.
so like, of course you take care of your people. It's just it comes naturally to me. Maybe it's my heritage, maybe it's just the loyalty factor, but to me, you
Yeah.
always take care of your people, first and foremost. And then, you know, um, the I don't understand how are they successful, right? If
I
they
don't
don't take care of their
understand
people.
either.
Yeah.
No.
And
I couldn't do
kudos.
most of the things that I do without my team, and they know it. Everybody knows that I do a certain percent of things, but most of the work that gets done is actually them. It's not my job
Yeah.
to do the work anymore. When I started the company, it was, but now my job is to grow the company, to build the relationships, to make the connections, and they're the ones doing most of the work. And so literally, I could not get it all done without them. And so I make
Yeah.
sure that
Same.
I'm going to do whatever I can to keep them.
Yeah. Yeah. I've given multiple loans out to to various employees. Every single one of them has paid me back. So
Oh yeah,
yeah,
that's
but
really
some of them
smart.
some of them it took 2 or 3 years to pay back. I mean, these aren't small loans; these are fairly substantial loans. But anyway,
Yeah,
I don't understand how people can't have an eye on retention, keeping, taking care of your people. And
especially
um,
your team. So before we hit record, I told you I had a story I was going to share. It's about Laura, lovely Laura, and she had been my right hand since
mm,
2020, I guess, 20 mid 2020, and her situation changed and she needed to get full-time work. And at that time, I didn't have enough, and so she was looking for a part-time job. And I guess she actually ended up finding a full-time job. And it was very sudden. She didn't expect it. That wasn't really what she was looking for. And so she got on with me and she was almost crying. She's like, I don't know how to tell you this, but I got a full-time job and I can still work for you some in the evening, but not like I have been. And so I'm like, go with God, right? Take care of yourself, do what you need to do. And she was gone for about 3 months, and I thought I was going to die. And so, like, because there was so much, not physically die, but it was like really hard. And the knowledge that she had of our business, my business, and all of the clients and all of the things, and that I could say one word and she would know what to do without me having to tell her anything else. And so I met actually somebody else was leaving the team that they needed. There was a good thing for them to go, not because they were bad, just it was right for their family. And so we were talking, he goes, the best thing would be is if you could bring Laura back. And I'm like, I wonder if I could bring Laura back. And so I messaged her and said, what would it take for you to come back full time for me? Because I can't do this without you. And she told me, and I said, done, done. But what I didn't know was that day, the company she went to work for full time let her go. And she wasn't
It's
going to
perfect
have a
timing.
job. And
That's
so,
great.
like God was winking at me.
Serendipity.
I needed Laura, Laura needed me. And oh my gosh. And so it's just, so when a situation like this comes up for me, and hopefully it won't again, but if somebody says, hey, I need more hours, and they're really good, they're not just kind of doing the thing, but they really make a difference. It was a wake up call for me. Figure it out. Figure it out
Yeah.
because of the amount of things that she does without me even thinking. It's like, and the gentleman that just left, that well, that left, I really liked him. I liked the work he did. I care about him as a human, but I knew it was the right thing. I was a stepping stone to get him where he was going to be, and I knew that, right? That was fine.
Yeah.
But and sometimes that happens, but mercy, we
Yeah.
cannot let these people go that are so good. And Laura is just like she makes my business better. And when you have those kinds of people, what we have to do something to make them know. And saying, Laura, like my business is better because of you is good. That those are words of affirmations, but sometimes that money needs to happen. Sometimes like a personal gift in the mail. I love sending something in the mail because nobody does it. It's a big part of what we do. Um, whether it's just a handwritten note, a letter, a gift that I drop ship from Amazon, something I've made, but showing that I truly thought about them, that it's not just I'm giving everybody in the company the same thing or all of my clients the same thing. I literally try and pinpoint and find things that they would actually enjoy and use. One of our clients, she is a nurse practitioner and she has her own office and we've been working with her since 2020. And her business anniversary is coming up, and she is a badass. She is literally, and so I found this specific thing on Amazon that made me think of her when I saw it. And I won't send that to any other client, but I'm sending it to her with a note of congratulations and hope this year is even better than the last 8 years, right? And when you do those kinds of little things, I mean, that thing's costing me like 25 or 30 bucks. Doesn't have to cost a lot. It's the
Oh,
intentionality, the thought process, the
yeah.
fact that we took time to think. It doesn't have to cost a lot. And that's where a lot of business owners in my brain, they feel like it's going to take too much money and too much time. And it doesn't have to. Like I literally plan out my stuff for the year, not those anniversary gifts, but all the rest of the touches. I plan in November for the next year. And I promise my clients and my team don't feel like it was planned a year ahead. It feels intentional when they get it. And
Yeah.
yeah, and so you can just plan it and get it done. And I know like I've had people that their business has doubled and tripled by implementing what we teach. And so it's kind of cool to watch it
Yeah.
happen, to know that their business stabilizes because they're keeping their team longer, they're keeping their clients longer. That doesn't mean you don't want to get new clients, and it doesn't mean you might not need to bring on somebody new as team. But when you can truly keep your best people longer, everything is just better.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I couldn't agree with you more. It's funny when I first started this team in India, um, I would travel back and forth, and I had to bring an extra suitcase to bring all the gifts that my team in India wanted to bring to my team in the US and vice versa.
That's
So,
so great.
there, yeah, it was a fun time. And, now we've kind of got, clients and staff kind of scattered all over, and it's getting a bit more challenging to kind of juggle it all. It used to be kind of one office versus one office. And so, but yeah, it's such an important thing. I mean, just people just want to be appreciated for,
Yeah.
the hard work that they're putting in. And, it's, a little bit goes a long way.
Yeah, it does for sure. Well, do you have any closing thoughts before we wrap up today? I feel like we could talk more and more about retention and teams and all the things, but I think we've had a pretty good conversation so far. Any closing thoughts before we wrap up?
Yeah, one of the things that kind of came to my mind when I was listening to all of this is just kind of the cultural nuances by the for different countries, right? And so,
Um,
to your point about the Philippines or India, the feeling of inclusiveness, the pride of working for another a US based company, kind of goes a long way. And there's just a lot of other kind of cultural nuances that I've picked up over the years, just from different people, different ages, different, times of their career. It's funny, you were talking about how this person needs to move on. You said this is a stepping stone.
yeah,
Um, I think that's an important thing to notice too, right? Like, as much as you always want to retain your best people, sometimes it's not their path in life, and that's
yeah,
okay too. But there's a way that to do it, and there's a way to treat people along the way that just kind of,
yeah.
you know again, makes it easier when the time comes to part ways.
Yeah. And it means so much to me when my team, if they're making a change or something and they get on a Zoom with me and they tell me and just watching their faces and their voice and it's sincerely like a hard decision, right? And because they know that I value them and that with our clients too. I had a difficult conversation with one of our clients last week and I've been working with him since 21 and some of the stuff it's just he may need to find somebody else.
Mm,
We are really, really good at implementing processes and we're really good at helping you keep your best clients and team longer. We are really not so good at lead gen. And he's at
mm,
a place of his business where he's needing to get more eyeballs on his stuff. And I had to say, look, if at some point you need to hire somebody else to help do some of these things, all I want is for you to be successful, right?
mm,
And the same thing for my team. I want you to get what you need. And when that happens, and I'm actually serving at a place from that level of what's best for them, then I believe God takes care of me. And I've never like the fact that Laura came back and it was the same day that she got let go. I mean, I don't know. I just can't make that up. And so
I love
I've
that story.
definitely, yeah, it's so good. And so we just have to know where people are at. And like you said, sometimes it's just not in their course to just stay, their life plan to stay with us forever. I mean, my
Yeah,
business has changed a million times, slightly tweaking since 2019. So I'm not doing the same exact thing we were doing. And so how can I expect somebody else to stay on the same path, right? And so it's been a fun
yeah,
journey though.
it is. I mean, things change. You know what I mean? It is an inevitable. But one of the old business advisor once said to me, he said, "People will always need great." And so one of the things I always like to ask is, "Are you doing a great job?" Like, when you ask that, people scratch their head a little bit. You could be doing a good job, but are you doing a great job? Um,
Yeah.
and I ask that of both my clients and of my staff and my people. And I think that kind of, you know, that speaks to like the retention, right?
Yes, it
If
does. Yeah. I'm
everyone's doing a great job, then you're gonna
I'm actually I'm
you're gonna
writing
stick
that
around.
down.
Yeah.
Because do we? Because one of the things we do on our feedback when I send it to a client is I ask them, what is one thing we're doing really, really well and one thing that we could improve on? And I always say this is not a time to not hurt our feelings. Like we need to know what if we're not doing something well, we need to know so we can make it better. But what are we doing great? Right? But that's a whole, what are we doing well is different than what are we
Yeah.
doing great. And so,
Yeah.
and I tell you, the loyalty that comes from when somebody gives you the feedback and then you take action on it and either make it better or improve the process, and then you let them know, hey, you said XYZ and we did this. This directly came from what you told us. They're gonna trust us with to give us more feedback, which is what we want. Because if there's something that's making them cranky, then they might leave. But if it's like if we fix it, they're gonna stay. Yeah, the loyalty that comes from acting on what somebody is giving you for feedback, you can't buy that loyalty anywhere else. You just
No,
can't.
it's absolutely key. I mean, it's listening. It's listening and implementing, whatever you've listened to. Sometimes it can be challenging, depending
Yeah.
on the nature of what it is that they're asking
And
for, but
sometimes
most of the
their
time,
feedback is not accurate. And then you say, thank you so much for sharing this with us. We will look at it and see what we
yeah.
can do.
Yeah, I've had to work through the feedback loop of feedback slash defensiveness, right? Because like most feedback is pretty much, at least in the nature of what we do, is directed towards someone, right? And
Right.
so how they take that, is also an important aspect of it, right? So
Hmm.
there's immediate reaction to be defensive.
Of
Yeah, but
course.
or
Yeah.
there's excuses and all that stuff. But so yeah, there's
Yeah. Well,
also a
that's
lot of
one of the ways
art in
I've
that as
judged
well.
my team. Whenever somebody says something or they broke something or they didn't make it or it wasn't correct, then and I tell them based on how they handle that, I know if they're going to be with me long term or not. If they
Mm,
own it, and it's been amazing. The people that have been with me now, because I've got all of them now have been with me for 4 or more years, and we are human. We do make mistakes, and how
mm,
they have owned that is probably one of the reasons they're still with me. Because they actually own it, they fix it. They actually without me, I've never told anybody apologize to the client. They have all, it's just something they do. They will actually
mm.
apologize to the client saying, this is what happened. This is why it happened. This is how we're going to fix it and why it won't happen again. And that's not something I've instilled like I haven't told them to do it, but they all have done it. It's very bizarre. I don't know if they're talking behind my back, like in a group chat, but they all apologize. And it's not very often, but when it happens, you have to make it right. Yeah,
Yeah, no, I
yeah,
agree. I agree.
yeah.
So
Well, good. Well, I want you to enjoy your snow skiing. How cold is it there?
it's cold, but it's not too cold. It's not like it's probably in the low 30s
Okay.
Fahrenheit, so it's not too bad. So,
Yeah,
but
that's
it's
bad.
snowing outside, so
Texas, it's so bad. I'm glad we only have like two really bad ice days or cold days here. It feels like a year, and I'm happy with that. So, well, Brian, it
yeah,
was really
yeah,
great to have you on as my guest. I'll make sure I keep you looped in on when this is going live, and your link will be around the video so people can click through to get connected to you on LinkedIn and also your website.
great. Thank you. I appreciate
Uh,
that.
Thank you very much.